In this video, I am going to explain about the EIGRP stub router feature with leak map option. You know that when we configure one router as the EIGRP stub router, that router only can advertise the connected and summary networks. And it shouldn't advertise the learned networks or dynamically learned networks. For example, here when you configure R3 and R4 as the EIGRP stub router features, they shouldn't advertise the network learned from the router 2 to router 1. This is the normal behavior. In some rarely cases, maybe you want to advertise or leak some of the learned networks from one router to other router. For example, in this scenario, I want to configure the leak map feature to advertise the 172.16.2.1/32 network learned from the router 2 in the router 3 and router 4 to router 1. It means that finally we expect that router 1 learn about the 172.16.2.1/32 and R3 and R4 will be the EIGRP stub routers. Let me to show you here in the router 1. First, show IP route EIGRP can show us that now without EIGRP stub feature we have all of this network 172.16.1.1/32 from router 3 and router 4, and also 172.16.2.1/32 again from router 3 and router 4. And also in the router 2, we have similar condition, show IP route EIGRP. In the router 2, as you can see, we have 172.16.30/24 and 40/24 were learned dynamically from the router 3 and router 4, and also 172.16.3.01/32 learned from the router 3 and router 4. In the router 3, I want to configure EIGRP stub feature, but in this time we will advertise only one of the networks learned from the router 2 to router 1. First, you should select this network. Show IP prefix list can show us we have a prefix list. Let me to remove this prefix list, or if you want you can configure a new prefix list. And after that, here with the for example IP prefix list A, I will match the network that I want to advertise. IP prefix list A permit 172.16.2.1/32. And then you need a route map that match this IP prefix list with permit action. Route map AA permit 10 match IP prefix list, for example IP address prefix list, then A. Actually now we have a route map. This is our route map. This route map match the networks or permit the networks matched with the IP prefix list A, and IP prefix list A permit only 172.16.2.1/32. And then here under the router EIGRP1, when we configure EIGRP stub router feature, you need to use the leak map option. After leak map, you can use the name of the route map that you defined before, AA. Now, we expect that router 3 should advertise only one of the networks learned from the router 2, 172.16.2.1/32 to router 1. And it shouldn't advertise 172.16.1.1/32 because this is EIGRP stub router feature. Let me to configure similar condition in the router 4. Here again, do show IP prefix list. We have a prefix list. Let me to remove this prefix list, no IP prefix list A, and then IP prefix list A permit 172.16.2.1/32. And after that, route map AA permit 10 match IP address prefix list A. This is our prefix list, show route map, our route map, and after that show IP prefix list. Then here under the router EIGRP lab, and after that address family IPv4 unicast AS number 1, here we can configure the EIGRP stub feature with leak map option, and after that the name of our route map AA. In the router 1, as you can see, this is the router 1. show IP route EIGRP can show us that we have 172.16.2.1 from both router 3 and router 4, but we didn't learn the 172.16.1.1 because, as you know, the router 3 and router 4 shouldn't advertise the network learned from the other routers because they are EIGRP stub routers. But here we have one exception. Exception is the networks leaked by the roadmap AA. Also, don't forget, in the router 3, if you check again, or router 4, if you check again EIGRP stub router, you will see that we learn about all of the network, all of the options: connected, leak map, receive only, redistributed, static, and summary. Don't forget, if you want, you can configure some of them with each other. For example, you can use multiple options: connected, and then, for example, redistributed, and then static, and so on. Okay, it is possible. In the router 1, let me to show you also the neighborship table of router 1, show IP EIGRP neighbor detail. Here, as you can see, now we have a stop here advertising, connected, and summary. They are default with a leak map routes. Okay, because of that, about the EIGRP stub router feature, we know all of the options are available for us.